Okay, race fans, welcome in to the inaugural race of Throttle Freaks, the league that's been born out of the ashes of the Precision Race League, like a phoenix. It's rising up, and now we've got a bunch of freaks on track. I am Rob Campbell. I'll be handling production and commentary. In the booth with me as well will be Richard Swindell. So you can see there on the screen. We're at Red Bull Ring, one of the more popular tracks on iRacing service itself. We're just getting the qualifying underway here, but Rich, let's chat about what kind of track we got here tonight. Red Bull Ring. Oh, you're muted, Rich. You get yourself muted there. There we go.
Yeah, Red Bull Ring is one of my favorite tracks on the service, and it's it's a great choice by the admins for the first inaugural race here, and really looking forward to it. Should be some good close racing. We got a lot of people here tonight.
Yeah, I think last count I'm looking at, I think there's 46 drivers, 47 drivers registered. I think a couple of them hadn't quite paid their dues yet, so we won't be seeing them here tonight, Rich. But it looks like we've got mid 30 something for drivers turned out so far. So it's going to be a lot of cars on track here. Red Bull, I know you've raced it a bunch. I know I've raced it a bunch too as well. We've done many league races in the past, and some have been here at Red Bull, but not a whole lot of overtaking opportunities here. You've got turn one, and then you've got, I think they call it turn three, although really it's kind of turn two. They call that little kink down the first straightaway a turn, but I think that's really pulling at straws, calling it a turn. But turn one, turn three, and then really that's about it. You might be able to make an overtaking opportunity a little further on in the lap, but really those are your real prime opportunities.
Yeah, it's a tough track to pass on, like you said. Turn one and the turn three are definitely the main places. Some will be risky. Try at turn four, but there's lots of gravel out there if you try too hard. So it's a little risky spot to go. So nice high speed track though. So it's going to present some interesting racing.
Mhm.
Get that draft going between turn one and turn three. It's a long straightaway uphill, so going to be some tactics going on tonight.
Yeah, let's take a quick look at the schedule. As we mentioned, we're at Red Bull Ring. Next week, we head to Watkins Glen, another real great track. Actually, I think this whole schedule itself, Rich, is really a great one. I don't really see a track throughout there that I hate. They're all great
No,
ones that I enjoy, and I'm looking forward to a lot of them.
I agree with you 100% there. Fabulous schedule. Great job, guys, on getting this league going and the track selection.
Yeah, definitely. So we're in the middle of qualifying. Let's see if we can take a look and see how qualifying's shaping up there. Oh no, sorry, we just had a driver blinking out. He's throwing me for a loop here. That was I believe it was Seb Goche with a little bit of a connection issue, but we'll hop off him. But as I was mentioning, we've got two classes here tonight, Rich. We got GT3 Pro, GT3 AM. This is the fixed setup series. After this race, we'll have a little bit of a break and we'll pop into the open setup series, which is a little more of the higher I rating drivers, what we would categorize as your typical pro alien type drivers we'll see. But there is an AM side of that one too as well, but we'll get to that later on. But the threshold, I believe, here was drivers under 2,500 I rating, I believe, is what they fell
I,
into
I,
the AM
I
category.
I thought it was 3,000, but you may be correct there, Rob.
Yeah, I think 3,000 was for the pro side of the open setup, but I think this one was capped out at about 3,500, 3,200. Either way, we've got our drivers sorted up here by pro and AM. You can see them on the standings there, they're putting in their lap time. Points are going to be doled out, though, depending on where you finish overall. Not necessarily it matters all that much where you finish in your category itself, so you're going to want to try and battle for every position out there. So we will see some AM drivers battling with pro drivers, not trying to give up position because they don't want to lose those points. But just as well, they're trying to stay ahead of their AM counterparts.
Yeah, it's really, we've got two classes racing as one with the same cars, and there's no rules in terms of having to let the pros overtake. So I'd expect some good close battling between some of the slower pros tonight and the faster AMs.
Yeah, definitely.
He's got himself, it looks like, a tenth and a half over second place in the AM division. But it's just incredibly close how all of the qualifying is going so far, Rob. But if we look at the pros, I mean, there's barely a difference between the top 10, it looks like.
Yeah, we've got, well, sorted it there now from
Oh,
first
there
to
we go.
15th place in pro, separated by not even 1 second. So, as you mentioned, real tight. And then even are far different. And what 1.1 seconds, just over 1 second through the top 15 of the grid there. So it's definitely close, as you mentioned. There's going to be a lot of battles at stake here. A lot of drivers very close on time amongst each other. So we'll have to see how that plays out. It's going to make for some real tight confines on track, Rich.
Yeah, I mean, we've got 30 plus driver, looks like 35-ish drivers out here, and with that close of a pace between all of them, there's going to be some tight battling for track position and space. There's just not that much room out there, and everybody's going to want to move up to the front, and unfortunately only one person can be there.
Yeah, well, they're all going to want to be there, but only one man can stand atop the podium. Speaking of standing atop of the podium, we're on board with Colin McKenzie, who's been a bit of a menace in the AM category of the Precision Race League the last couple seasons. The league that spawned this league, Throttle Freaks. Colin had been up top of the AM category. He's been promoted up into pro for Throttle Freaks. So gonna have to deal with the quicker end of the sharper end of the field here for this season. We'll have to see how he's able to deal with that, but definitely expect a lot out of him heading forward with another driver, Tyler Graff. He's the one that's been around the field here in the PRL for a while, and now that we've become Throttle Freaks, expect to see him up towards the front end, sharp end of the field too. Is now right now sitting 7th in pro, 8th overall. So strong showing for Tyler Graff. I'm sure you recognize a whole bunch of names throughout this list, Rich. A lot of, as I mentioned, a lot of drivers coming over from the now defunct Precision Racing League. So a lot of these guys have raced together for a number of seasons, if not years. So we expect.
I raced GT3s in PRL, but I certainly recognize some of the names, and it was always good, close, competitive, but fair racing. So I'd expect to see a lot of that tonight, even with this big field, Rob.
Yeah, it's tight confines. Hard to believe that they actually race the Formula One cars around here with the speeds that they can maintain and the short nature of this track. Even with GT3 cars, we're only doing a minute 30 lap around the track here. So I believe when the Formula One cars get out here, they're either very near a 1 minute lap or sub 1 minute lap, and that's not much time to really think about much of anything on track. You you really got to have lightning reflexes to make sure you don't get involved in anything out of the pleasant there.
Yeah, especially with those open wheelers, and these guys are going to be in for tough quarters here as well. Luckily, they got some body work to protect their cars a little bit, and because it's going to be some close racing. Here we take a look at Andrew Trickett going down. It looks like between 3 and 4, the straightaway there. Felix
Yeah.
Feliz.
Felix Feliz, yep.
It's just a beautiful circuit. I mean, the scenery's just gorgeous. I just love this place, Rob.
Yeah, it's a tough track though. The off tracks are real tight here. I'm sure you've dealt with it before, Rich, but you can you get yourself into a whole lot of trouble early on with off tracks around Red Bull Ring as we pick up our pole sitter right now, Jason Park in the Acura. So we got a fair nice spread in different manufacturers up in the top 5. We've got 4 different manufacturers in the top 5, so that's nice to see. Not everybody driving the Porsche or the Acura. It's a nice little spread. I'm actually surprised to see a Lambo up in P3. David Bush, the third, holding down third spot overall in the Lambo. It's a car that we don't really see a whole lot anymore in GT3 since a lot of the newer cars have pushed it off to the kind of the wayside.
Yeah, but it's hey, it's still a valid car, and it's still obviously competitive with him being sitting where he is.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it translates into the race itself. Again, I believe we're doing 35 minutes here in the fixed series, and then the open series that will follow this race is 40 minutes. They are fuel limited, as per usual. So they will have to make a pit stop. I don't think Red Bull Ring is a track where you can lift and coast enough to save enough fuel to not have to make a pit stop. So we'll see most of our drivers in for fuel. There should be no need for tires. Short little sprint race like this, they should be able to maintain their tires fairly well and not have to worry much about that, Rich. But I know you've been getting big into the open wheel driving the last few seasons. Have you taken one of the open wheel cars around here that I talked about Formula One earlier?
Yeah, I've raced here in F3 and IndyCar, and yeah, it's an open wheel car driver's delight. So looks like qualifying just finishing up here, Rob. Wow, that went quick.
Yeah, 15 minutes flies, especially when you're having fun there, right? So we're just waiting for timing and scoring to kick over here, and then we'll have a look at the grid, and we'll be getting underway for the first official race of Throttle Freaks here. Actually, it doesn't look like it wants to kick over here for me. So let's see if we can populate it this way, Rich. But no, it's not cooperating.
It looks like it's on iRacing's end, maybe.
Yeah, it looks like we're still waiting for iRacing to click over. So this is still finishing, but not sure why it booted all the cars off track. But oh, it looks like we're just actually we're running more than 50 minutes. Are they doing 20-minute qualifying? Possibly?
No, it's just it keeps extending the remaining time on my end. It's showing.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I know what happened when it's open qualifying. If you're still on a lap if you cross the line before the clock ticks down, you're able to finish that lap. So that's why we had Jacob Fichtner still out on track, and that's why it wasn't kicking over the qualifying. I forgot that about the open qualifying. When you have all the cars on track together, that's how that works out. So there we go. We've got the grid up here now, and why don't you take us through the top 10 here, Rich?
Yeah, sitting on pole tonight, Jason Park from sitting second, Felix Feliz. Third, we've got David Bush the third. In fourth, in our first amateur, we've got Ross Sortino. In fifth, we've got Seb Gauthier. Sixth, we've got Jay Steffi. Seventh, Tyler Graff. Eighth, Colin McKenzie. In ninth, we got Brett Thurman. And our next amateur in 10th, we've got Nathan Doogie.
Yeah,
in 11th, we've got Andrew Finero. And in 12th, Dave Jensen.
And then we'll find Luke Davis in 13th. Jerry Keene's going to start 14th. Herbert Pineda in 15th. Dale Peterson going to start in 16th place overall. Andrew Trickett in 17th. Drew DeWeese in 18th. Kyle Strikers in 19th. That is a handle. I love it. Kyle, much respect for the name. That's a proper racing name right there.
I've raced with him many times.
Jacob Fichtner in 20th. Waldo Walden in 21st. Kyle Morrison 22nd. Kevin Bergquist going to start 23rd. And Ian Southern in 24th.
In 25th, we got Nikos Sanadakis. 26th, Eric Stout. And we've got Josh Sheps, Ian Cabana, David Morse. In 30th, Robert Jeffries. And we have Karsten Quint, Neil Alexander, Alex Hillman, Christopher Rhines, and rounding out on our last row, we've got Mark Bray and Sean Mulholland.
Yeah, Mark Bray is the organizer, Sean Mulholland is the organizer for this series, so we won't actually see him on grid. He just has to log into the session to give them the old speech and how do you do, keep it off each other's bumpers, and go from there. But we're seeing the grid heading away behind the pace car. Looks like we're doing a short pace lap here, which is always appreciated. I wish iRacing would implement short pace laps on every track, because really, who wants to drive all the way around the track? Not this guy.
Not me.
Not this guy. So Jason Park is going to be our inaugural pole sitter for Throttle Freaks in GT3 Fixed Series, the league that has risen from the ashes of the PRL. Jason Park, field under his control around the final corner, and we are green and heading off into turn one. Jason Park, congratulations for being the pole sitter of race number one. He's got Felix Feliz in tow. They head into turn one. Looks like most of the field getting sorted out nose to tail here early on, Rich. That was what we like to see. We don't want to see a whole lot of carnage through the field. Turn 1 can be particularly hairy, especially in the GT3s. You got cold tires, wide cars, and a whole lot of understeer into turn 1. And it looks like everybody got through clean. Excellent and well done by all the drivers out there tonight.
Yeah, well executed, guys. Patience is a virtue. You don't want to blow your whole season on turn 1 of the inaugural lap. Nice nose to tail we got coming down the back straight. Everybody in order, everything looks clean. No real changes in position that I've noticed, Rob, but nothing significant. Everybody's just biding their time right now, warming up the tires and getting ready to race.
Yeah, unfortunately, we might have spoke a little early. Looks like we had a couple cars involved in an incident a little farther back. We'll take a look at that in moments here. But right now, Jason Park holding on to that pole position. He's opened up 4 tenths now, 7 tenths over Felix Feliz in second place. Feliz is a strong driver. I raced against him numerous times in the past, so he's got some pace. So we'll see if he's got anything to offer for Park here as the race goes on. But Ross Sortino, our AM pole sitter, up into third overall right now. Real strong showing for him. He's moved off 1 spot around David Busch in the Lambo that we mentioned earlier on. So we'll see if Busch he's, I know from experience, David Busch is a bit of an endurance racer. He's going to try and settle into a comfortable pace here. He'll try and push a little later on as we see Sortino already now making a move around Feliz up into second place. Oh no, our pole sitter Jason Park is going to spin into turn 1. He's going to back it off the track. Fortunately, nobody gets into him. That's some kind of luck there. He's losing all kinds of positions though. But our AM leader and AM pole sitter now is the overall leader, Ross Sortino, like a rocket 2 laps into this one out front, Rich.
Oh, wow. What a great start for Ross. And you really got to feel for our pole sitter there. But Ross was there to take advantage of the situation, and Felix Feliz is following him right down. Looks like these two are trying to put a little bit of a gap on the third place driver, David Busch. But that's what happens when the leader spins.
Yeah, half a racing is being there and being opportunistic. You got to be trying to put pressure on the car in front to force a mistake, and then when the mistake does happen, you got to be there to pounce and take advantage of it when you can. And we just saw Sortino was able to do that, move himself up top of the standings, and well done for him. But we got a little battle shaping up here a little further back for 4th and 5th overall. We've got Tyler Graff in that beautiful Porsche, the purple, yellow, and a little bit in green on the front Porsche. He's got Jay Steffi in behind him with another bright car, a couple cars you can't miss on track. Rich, if you can't see those 2 cars out there, you really should go get your eyes checked because they are just glowing. But right now, Graff leading away, Steffi, and he's got Thurman in tow too as well. A bit of a 3-car pack shaping up for 4th place. But I mentioned Colin McKenzie early on. He's got himself up 1 spot on the tail end of that 4-car pack that's currently battling it out for 4th overall.
Yeah, it looks like we've got several of those 3, 4, 5-car packs all through the lineup here. Good tight racing all up and down the field tonight, Rob. Here we coming up into turn 3. Nice tight. Nobody's making a move. Everybody's biding their time, trying to wait for that opportunity or mistake from the guy ahead of them.
Yeah, definitely. Everybody looks like they seem to be biding their time. Not much argy-bargy out there right now, Rich. And a little bit of a whole lot of respect being shown so far. But we got, it looks like things have settled down a little bit here. Let's see if we can quickly catch up with what happened early on between, it looks like David Morris, possibly Robert Jeffries, Neil Alexander, and Carson Quint might have been all involved in something here. So we're on board here with David Morris. He is car 21, green and black Acura. He just almost gets into his teammate there ahead. They come to a complete stop, and looks like everybody just had to get woed up, and they got flagged for heading real slow into that corner. So thankfully nobody tagged each other, Rich. It was just a matter of getting heavy on the binders, but we almost saw a little bit of a team-on-team argy-bargy there. But back up front, Ross Sortino still leading the way. These two now pulling away from David Busch in third. Felix Feliz not ready to let Sortino run away with this one as he's staying tight on the back bumper, half a second between the two of them. But David Busch now 2.4 seconds back of that battle. He's starting to lose touch. He's starting to fall back into the clutches of Tyler Graff. You see Graff leading that 4-car pack of himself, Steffi, Thurman, and McKenzie as they're starting to close down on the back of David Busch the third. He's going to have company here shortly for his 3rd spot and final step on the podium, Rich.
Yeah, David's hung out to dry there. He's out of draft range of the guys ahead of him, and he's got a four car train trying to catch him, and they're looks like they're closing in quickly.
Yeah, he's not going to be liking what he's seeing in his mirrors. Is getting filled full of a couple Porsches and a couple Acuras now. But let's take a little trip back further in the field here. We've got a whole gaggle of cars here in the middle, battling it out for, looks like, 11th and 12th as we pick up Dave Jensen making a move around the inside of Jared Keane. Keane trying to fight back now on the outside, but not able to do it. Jensen's going to take that position away. Now Keane having to deal with Dale Peterson in behind. Dale in that blue and yellow Acura trying to sacrifice Jared Keane for another position, but they are nose to tail heading into the final couple corners here with no real room to breathe. One little mistake here could cost them a number of spots. It could also cost the number of cars they're positioned on track, Rich.
Yeah, that's it's a tough spot. You know, you try and make a move. If you don't complete the pass, you're just as likely to lose a position as you are to gain one, and that's what we're kind of looked at last lap. This lap so far, it looks like they're just going nose to tail. Maybe try and get a little better exit off turn one and make a move at the end, turn three hairpin. And looks like we're getting a little antsy sitting there, the number 13 car. He's getting up pretty close. Let's see if he's going to make a move or if he's just content to sit where he is for now.
Yeah, it looks like that's Dale Peterson in the yellow and blue Acura. Look, he thought about sticking the nose in under Jared Keane, but came in a little hot in that corner, decided to bail out of it. But it's like Kyle Landon Morrison has just spun. He's dropping back through the standings. Doesn't look like anybody else got into the back of him because everybody's able to whoa up. And I got to admit, Rich, we've had a few incidents here and there, but for the amount of cars on track, it's been relatively clean.
Yeah, it's somewhat surprising, but also not, Rob. It's a brand new league. The guys want to race. They all just paid their money to come and race. They want to go out and have fun, and you don't want to be the instigator in the first bad crash that takes out a few cars. So I think they're all trying to drive respectfully at this point. So we watched Tyler Graff coming around last corner, and man, they're battling tight here for fourth and fifth position, it looks like, and nobody's making a move though. Everything's kind of sitting kind of close right now, the way it's been for a lap or two.
Yeah, they've now officially caught up to the tailpipe of David Busch III. You see David Busch up ahead, doing well to stay ahead of them now. I thought once they really got tucked into his draft that they'd be able to really close up on the back from, as we take a look back here from David Busch to see kind of what he would be seeing out of his rearview mirrors, and it's full of GT3s and behind Rich, but it's generally
it's just good close racing all up and down the field, Rob. I mean, you look in your rearview mirror, if you don't see three cars behind you, that means you're the last in the train.
Definitely. We hop back here with Herbert Pineda in the black and purple Acura. Looking to the outside of Dale Peterson. Dale Peterson going defensive into that corner, trying to force Pineda, if he's going to try and make a move around the outside, to go the long way around. And Drew DeWeese just in behind Pineda, looking to try and pick up some scraps. Something more to happen between the two of them. It's a little three-car battle there for 13th place overall. They're starting to fall off the back of Jared Keane and Dave Jensen up ahead. But let's take a look at what happened to Kyle Landon Morrison earlier. We caught the tail end of it, but let's see what happened to him to cause him to end up sideways on the track.
Yeah, he's just coming up here, turn three into the hairpin. And now you've got the off-camber kind of turn.
Oh, he got a little help.
Well, yeah, I guess he didn't do much there to cause that.
Let's take another look at that. I think that might have been Waldo Walden. Let's see if we can pop into his onboard here and see what he saw up ahead. It just looks like everybody slowed up ahead in the concertine, and not really a whole lot you can do there, like you said, Rich.
Yeah, they looks like everything checked up a lot quicker than you would normally expect. But back to live racing, we got Drew DeWeese here trying to catch up. He's just hanging off the back of that four-car train ahead of him. Drew's sitting, looks like, fifth in class right now? Yeah, fifth in class. Yeah. So yeah, he's definitely he's up near the leaders, and it looks like he's just trying to make some more gains.
Yeah, Drew DeWeese trying to chase down his AM compatriot Next in AM is Dave Jensen, currently in 11th spot. So there's a couple of pro cars in between DeWeese and Jensen. We've got Pineda, Peterson, and Keen in between them. So maybe look to try and move through them as quick as possible to try and snatch away that spot from Dave Jensen. But we still got a ways to go. 35-minute race. We're only at the 10-minute mark, Rich. So still plenty of time for our drivers to try and maneuver up and down through the field. But we got a battle here a little further back between Carson Quint. Carson in the BMW. We don't see the BMW out too often anymore as far as GT3s go, but he's trying to chase down Jacob Fichtner up ahead. Fichtner in the black and green SRT team paint scheme there up ahead in the Porsche. So that is a battle for 14th and 15th in the pro category. And it's also actually, believe it or not, 14th and 15th in pro would put you in 30th place overall right now. So it shows you the competitiveness out here between the AM drivers and the pro drivers. They may be separated a fair distance on the I rating, but skill based, when you get into a league like this, Rich, I rating doesn't really matter a whole lot once it comes down to it.
Yeah, a lot of guys don't race much in terms of open. They're only league racers, so they're very skilled drivers. And what we're seeing tonight just goes to show you the racing is nice and tight, all up and down throughout the field, Rob. Whether you're up front or you're sitting there in 30th or 33rd place, you're racing somebody. So it's good for everybody.
Yeah, most definitely. As we pick back up here with Dave Jensen, we saw him move ahead of Jared Keane earlier on, but he's not able to drop Keane off the back bumper yet. Keane doing well to tow around Peterson and Pineda to keep that 4-car draft pack chasing down Jensen up ahead. As we see Peterson thinking about making a move on the inside of Keane. We'll see if he makes that move into the second to last corner, but not quite enough run with that Acura. Looks like the Acura may be down a little bit on top speed. The Porsche seem to have a little more legs out here tonight, Rich, where Peterson really needed to use that draft and then not able to really get close enough to make a dive into the corner.
Yeah, it's he's up tight, but just you would hope to get a little more pull going up the hill. It all depends, I guess, a lot on exit speed too, Rob. And this is a fixed series, so there's not much the drivers can do to adjust. They can't change the wing angles and things like that. So,
no doubt, as we see Graf trying to defend from Jay Steffi, looking to the inside. Steffi tries to make a move, but Thurman tried to capitalize on Steffi having to compromise his turn into turn 3. We see Thurman looking on the inside. We might go 3 wide into the next corner here. Looks like Steffi going to pull wide. Thurman might have a nose up underneath, but Steffi going to close the door on that. Graf drops a tire off, throws a little debris up on track for them, and says, have that, guys. There's a little gravel action in your windshield.
Good hard battling, but no real big changes. That's a tough spot to get by, and the gravel is always there to bite you if you go too far.
Yeah, it's although I'm so glad that iRacing did something about the grass and the gravel a number of seasons ago, where it used to be you dropped a tire off into the grass or the dirt and you were instantly going for a spin.
Oh, somebody's coming into the pit, Rob.
Yeah, it looks like Tyler Graf is going to be our first taker through the pit cycle. So Tyler opting for the undercut. It's kind of rare amongst these drivers. Normally we see them pushing to the max fuel load, trying to run it as far as they can before they jump into the pits. So we'll have to see how he cycles through. I suspect he's probably going to come back out in traffic, probably not necessarily where he's going to want to be. Hopefully he can find a hole when he gets back out there and not have to really be held up by anybody. But that's going to promote Jay Steffi up into 4th. We saw him trying to find a way around Graf. So maybe that's the other thing. Graf was feeling a lot of pressure from Steffi and thought, you know what, I'm going to take a little bit of a breather here. Pit window's open. I'll pop in, take my pit now, and catch a breather and head back out on track.
Yeah, if things are getting heated or you're getting held up, why not? As long as he doesn't pop out into too much traffic, it's not really going to hurt him. And then he's got his brake in and he's ready to go till the end. David Bush is still leading this train. They're not really making any advances on him. Here we watch Ian Southern coming around. It looks like turn 4. A little bit of dust in his face, but everything's looking good so far. Still a nice train of cars. Nobody's separated by all that much, Rob.
Yeah, there's not much room to get separated around here. Let's see if we can pop up the track map here quickly, and we'll take a look and see. There you can see where the cars are all located on the track. So we're still, what are we, 15 minutes into this one, not quite halfway, and you can see that majority of the cars are still very close on track. So that shows you how competitive it is out here, where nobody really able to break away from the cars behind them, Rich. It's a real challenge. I'm looking up and down the intervals here on timing and scoring, and we've got a couple cars that are maybe a second and a half up on the car behind them, but for the most part, it's a matter of milliseconds all throughout the field.
Yeah, it's very, very good close racing. A couple of passes here and there, but that's just because you're in a 5-car pack and people are going to make moves, but the packs are still sticking together. We're going too wide going into turn 1. Karsten Quint holding the outside and, just content to keep driving where they are.
Yeah, we just saw Kyle Landon Morrison make the move around Quint. Morrison trying to recover from that spin we picked up earlier on, where he got a little bit of help from the back. And as the field concertined up, so he's on a recovery run. But the driver who unfortunately gave him a little boop here, Waldo Walden, is in a battle with Nico Zanadakis. That's for 14th overall, and Zanadakis currently 9th overall in our AM side, Walden 6th overall in the pro side. So different class cars, but they are still battling for the overall points total here. So this is where we'll see AM cars battling pro cars. And normally you would see, if the points were divvied up within your class only and not an overall, where we wouldn't really have a whole lot of pressure from the AM driver, possibly on the pro driver. He's just going to back off, let him go. Or even the pro driver would say, okay, he's a little faster, I'm just going to let him go. We're not in the same class, we're not battling, but this is, every point matters here. As our pole sitter, Jason Park, we saw him spin early on, making the move around Nico Zanadakis. He's going to jump back up into 15th overall, down 14 spots from where he started. So still got plenty of time to try and make his way back up through the field, Rich, but he's still got a long way to go.
Yeah, it's not where you want to be at this stage of the race, but like you said, we've still got 18 minutes left to try and make up some positions back. I love the way they're doing the scoring points format this year, Rob. It makes every position count, so it makes the battling harder and gives us more entertainment.
Yeah, yeah, it's a double-edged sword, right? You're losing points to a car that isn't necessarily in the class with you, but then again, if you do well as an AM, like Ross Sortino's doing right now, leading the field away, you can maximize your points over the next placed AM driver, which is who's that? Nathan Doogie or Dougie, and we'll have to find out the proper pronunciation of that. But he is an 8th overall, so we got 7 positions between our top 2 AM drivers. So you can see rare. That's really an advantage for Sortino to keep as many pro drivers in between he and Dougie out there to maximize his points haul.
Yeah, going a little bit wide there was Jason, and might have been an off track. Doesn't really matter. We've got a little battle coming back. We're not giving up on this position. It doesn't look like, going up the inside, and the move looks like it's done.
Yeah, that's going to move Park up into 14th now as he moves around Waldo Walden. So Park's got the pace. Last lap, he put in a 130.7 while navigating through traffic. And our leader's putting in 130.79. Fastest lap so far of the race. Felix Feliz with a 130.2. That is a blistering fast lap. He's about 2/10 faster than anybody else on track with his fastest lap. So Felix showing some strong pace up front as he's still trying to chase down Ross Sortino, holding them in check. Only 8/10 between the two of them, but Feliz, I think he has it in more or less cruise control right now. Might be trying to save a little bit of fuel here, as he will still need to make his pit stop, as we've only had a handful of drivers in so far. Right now, our highest scoring driver that's made a pit stop is actually Tyler Graff, our first car that popped in. He's now sitting in 21st overall, and we'll see if he cycles back up through the front as the rest of the cars cycle through, and we'll see how the undercut plays out. As we see, it's like Brett Thurman dropping into the pits out of 3rd place. So he's going to be placing into the pits, and this is where we'll really see if that undercut for Graff starts to play out, as he was ahead of Thurman. They were battling in that 4 or 5 car packs. So we'll see where Thurman comes out and where Graf cycles through, and we'll really get an idea whether the undercut was the play here, Rich, or if overcut was the better choice.
Yeah, we'll find out shortly. And in the meantime, I mean, Ross Sortino and Felix Feliz have opened up themselves quite the gap to third place. So they're just out on cruise control and biding their time. It looks like it's going to be between the two of them, and Felix better not let him get too far ahead and out of draft range.
Yeah, he's going to want to keep Sortino within. He's just teetering on the edge of draft here now. If I understand correctly, I think iRacing reduced it back a couple seasons back to about 7/10, 8/10. You really need to be fairly close to get the draft off the car ahead. And Feliz right now lingering in around that 7, 8/10 mark to try and save some fuel. But I suspect we should start to see the rest of the field coming in shortly here for pit stops, Rich, as we're now past the 20-minute mark. Under 15 minutes to go in this one, so we're past the halfway mark. Fuel load's starting to get low on these cars, and our drivers that are really pushing for every last drop out of the fuel tank are going to be getting E showing up quickly on the fuel gauge. But we pick up Colin McKenzie trying to put some pressure on the back of Jay Steffi. A couple of cars that haven't pit yet, just up ahead, D Bush. So we've got a couple lunatic racing cars separating the Riot Racing car of Q3M Sim Sports of Jay Steffi in between there. Showing looks like we had something happen between Neil Alexander and Eric Stout possibly. Let's take a look here and see what happened. Is we're on board with Neil Alexander in the blue, black, and red McLaren.
Oh, just missed his braking point, it looks like there, Rob. And no, it looks like everybody got through clean, though.
Yeah, he was able to keep it off the two cars ahead of him. Realized that he was diving in really late and really deep, was able to hold on to it, but nice recovery by him there. As we're seeing a number of more drivers into the pits, we've got Kevin Berquist, Waldo Walden, like Eric Stout, all coming in to service their vehicles. So the rest of the field is starting to cycle through here. We've got, I'm looking, about half the field has made a pit stop so far. We're still waiting on our leaders to duck in, as Ross Sortino is still leading around the way after he snatched away P1 on lap 2.
Yeah, it's surprise, surprise. We've had an amateur leading this race since, like you said, the second lap. Ross got a great start, and he's just managed to show a lot of pace. And looks like he's ducking into the pits for his scheduled pit stop. And Felix Feliz is going to go around once more, and we'll see who comes out ahead.
Yeah, Feliz, well, we'll see if he managed to save some fuel. We talked about where he was just on the threshold of draft to be able to utilize a little bit of fuel savings. So hopefully he's got enough fuel to make this one more lap worthwhile, but otherwise he's going to have to push it back to pits. But looks like Steffi and McKenzie able to make another lap around 2 as well as they're heading in. They're about 8 seconds back of Feliz, so it shows you what kind of pace that Sortino and Feliz had out front, that they were able to gap that much over the battle that was raging on for third to about 6th place, Rich. So real strong showing by Feliz early on, as we look back from Steffi here at the front end of McKenzie, trying to put some pressure on Steffi, but I suspect these two are at the end of their fuel load, and we'll probably see them in this time by.
Yeah, I would think more important is their pit entry than anything that's going to happen right now. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to try and make a late move right now when you got all that risk coming up at the pits where you can take easy advantage.
Yeah, no doubt. See if we can pick back up our leader before the pit stops, Ross Sortino. Quick stop by him. He was able to come back out in 6th overall, so nicely done for him. We'll see how he picks up whenever the top 3 or 4 or 5 cars, all top 5 cars have not pit yet. So we're waiting for our top 5 to pit, and we'll see where Sortino cycles through as we see Feliz coming in to service his car now. So this is where we'll see if Feliz was able to save enough fuel that one extra lap. He's able to jump ahead of Ross Sortino. Sortino heading into the last couple corners now. I'm not sure Feliz was able to save enough fuel, but we're going to find out here shortly, Rich.
Yeah, it looks like that was the last lap. People come in. Looks like everybody's been in the pits now, but it'll be interesting to see where they exit. It's going to be close, I think. They were close before they went in, but oh no, looks like he's lost some time here, Rob. It looks like the undercut worked out a little bit.
Yeah, it doesn't look like that extra lap was beneficial to Feliz. He's going to come back out, 2.5 seconds down of Sortino. Let's take a look
Yeah,
at the pit times.
yeah.
Looks
It
like
looks like he
Feliz with
lost
a
us.
41.95 cone to cone time for Feliz to Sortino with a 40.65. So as long as Sortino took enough fuel, he should be able to maintain that gap. But we've got 10 minutes to go in this one, so hopefully Sortino took enough fuel. We'll find out in about 9 minutes and 45 seconds or so.
Yeah, I would like to think he did. I'm just looking at some of the other times actually in the stall. He looks like he's in range with a bunch of the others, so I'd expect he has enough.
Yeah, I think the Ferrari, though, if I remember correctly, is one of the heavier drinkers as far as fuel goes, and that's what Sortino is in. So we'll have to see where the Porsche of Feliz is generally one of the cars that it's a little lighter on the fuel. So I'm surprised to see Feliz with actually a longer pit stop. But like I said, we'll see
Well,
how it boils
the
out here shortly.
the Italian wine is very tasty, Rob. It just is. Here we watch David Bush the third. He's got a good close battle, trying to hold on to his position here, and man, oh man, this is tight. We got Brett Thurman right behind him, all over him actually, and here we go. It's another close battle. This is what we love seeing, and a couple of pros trying to battle it out for second or third and fourth, and wow.
Yeah, we've got second place till sixth place lined up there. They're also second to sixth in the pro category too as well. So a lot of points on stake there for those four drivers. And then we had Andrew Venero just in behind them. Andrew is one of our pro drivers too as well, trying to gain up on the back of that pack. He'd love to get embroiled in that and try and take away the final step on the podium from D. Bush. But mentioned earlier on that David Bush, bit of a endurance specialist, where I said he'd probably settle into a bit of a pace, hold on to that third place that he was able to get comfortable in early on, and he's been doing this so far. We've seen cars catch up, but they haven't managed to find a way around him, Rich.
Well, he's just waking up now. I mean, this is just like the start of the race for him. So he's getting into a nice comfort zone. His first lap wasn't the best, and I'm kind of like that myself. Some people drive better, and as the race goes on, and their tires heat up, and they're more comfortable in the car. So doing a great job as we watch Seb Gauthier having a good close battle here, trying to make a move, but not able to get it done.
Yeah, it's Gauthier and who was that? Ian Cabana just ahead of him. So those two battling out for, I believe that is 26th overall. So a tight battle between those two drivers. Right now, Gauthier holding down 26th Cabana holding down 25th. Gauthier trying to take it away from him, but see him all over the back bumper of that blue and orange Ferrari of Ian Cabana. Ian trying to make that Ferrari even wider than it is, but Gauthier looking deep into the final corner. That might have been an off track. He was flirting with the off track there, but there's also a nasty, pardon me, Rich. There's also a nasty
okay.
off track, a slowdown in the final corner where you really don't want to push it out real wide. You get that slowdown on the front straight. It can cost you all kinds of time.
I've had it many times, Robbie. It's no good. No bueno. As we watch, Seb Gauthier he's holding tight. Not able to make a move, but he's closes up a little bit on the draft, and it's just not getting close enough by the corner.
Yeah, no doubt. We drop back just behind that battle. We're going to find Eric Stout and Jacob Fichtner. This is a battle in the AM class. Stout trying to make the move around the inside of Fichtner. See if he's able to hold it on. That was Fichtner. We popped up Neil Alexander for a minute there, so I'm not sure what was going on with time. He scored, had a little bit of a blip, but Stout trying to fight back now. Fichtner,
these guys have been battling side by side for a couple of laps now, Rob. It's just incredible, and nice respect, and wow. Looks like he got the move done there on the inside.
Yeah, he did, but it looks like Neil Alexander not ready to give it up yet. Tucking on the inside. Oh, it looks like they almost touch. Alexander having to get up on the curb. Stout giving him plenty of room. So nice tight quarters battling there. You like to see that, Rich.
Yeah, 27th to 28th place, and these guys have been going nose to tail, side by side, 2 laps straight now. Fabulous racing, guys.
Yeah, hats off throughout the field. We've seen battles all throughout as we jump up to It's like Robert Jeffries here in the 803. He's got Dale Peterson looking to the inside of him. Peterson trying to make the move around. He's going to do it. That's going to promote Peterson up into 23rd overall. That's going to drop Robert Jeffries back into 24th. Jeffries is an AM driver, and Peterson on our pro side of things. So again, interclass battle, but it's the points that matter the most. It's just behind them. It's like Cabana and Cabana and Goche still going at it behind them, but they've caught that battle they were just looking at.
Yeah, that lot of the late breakers there didn't want to give up the position and stuck the brakes as late as he could. And wow, side by side banging doors a little bit, and yeah, this is fabulous.
The elbows are out.
We're almost 31 minutes into it, and they're going as hard now as they were on turn 1.
Yeah, it's go time, Rich. There's no more time left to tiptoe around. It's time to go. I think Seb Gauthier realized that. He was going to find his way through Ian Cabana one way or the other. Ian said, well, you know what? Not today, young fella. I'm just going to back out and let you go, and I'll survive the rest of the race before something terrible goes on there. But if we have a look here, Andrew Venero, he's leading around Jared Keane and Herbert Pineda. It's a battle for 8th overall. Venero in that blue and red McLaren trying to hold off the Porsche of Jared Keane and the Acura of Pineda in behind. We're down to the final 4 minutes, 45 seconds or so. So a couple more laps to go in this one, Rich, and then that'll be all she wrote for the inaugural race of the GT3 Fix Series.
And what a race we've had. I mean, look at this battle here. We're going 8th, 9th, 10th place, 11th place, and you know, got a good close battle between two of them, but there's two other cars right behind them ready to pounce too.
Yeah, we see a Venero going a little wide. Keane going to look to the inside there, trying to make a move. Venero able to get earlier into the throttle around the outside, accelerate around and hold on to that spot. Keane thinking about looking on the inside again as we head around the big metal bull in the middle of the track out there. Can't really see it in this shot, but it's out there. Oh, he caught a glimpse of it. But Venero holding on. It looks like Keane falling back a little bit. He's into the clutches of Pineda. Pineda not looking to make a move, though, but Venero able to open up a couple tenths over Keane and behind as they head into the final corner here. And only a few more laps to go in this one, Rich. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, we got my 3 laps left, and man, it's go time, folks. If you're going to make a move, you better get it done soon, or you're going to run out of time.
Oh, no, Tyler Graff had to drop back into the pits. Not sure if that was a fuel issue or a incident issue, but he was our early pitter, so unfortunately that didn't work out for Graff. If it was a fuel issue, unfortunate for him, he had a strong run going, but
we got David Bush III up in second still, going back through the field a little bit. Chase Steffi having a good close battle as well.
Yeah, Steffi and Thurman kind of fell off the back of McKenzie and Bush up ahead. We had a 4-car battle. I'm not sure what happened, if something happened to one of these drivers. Not really seen anything come up on timing and scoring. So, and the Dave Bush III went off track. I'm not sure if it caused a little bit of an issue from the cars behind, but just a little bit of a off-track excursion there. Almost flirting with a slowdown out in that area, but so far he's holding on to 3rd place. We got a battle a little farther back here. Herbert Pineda, he's got Tyler Graff out in front of him now. So Graff cycled back to 11th after having to make that additional pit stop. Pineda hot on his rear end, but Luke Davis not too far behind as well. Davis ready to pounce if something were to happen between Pineda and Graff up ahead. It's a battle for just outside of the top 10. Right now, Andrew Trickett holding down final spot in the top 10. He's the chrome gold and chrome silver colored Porsche up ahead as they pass by the flag stand. Barney waving the white flag. Final time around here for our drivers.
Wow, it's good job by Andrew Trickett. It looks like he's holding them off and got a decent exit there. Draft is powerful, but I don't know if they're close enough right now, Rob.
Yeah, I think this will be the last real opportunity when they're not getting close enough in the draft to make a move. Rich, as we see Graff just too far back to make a move. We check in our leader. He's heading around the infield stadium section. A couple more corners to go, and Ross Sortino barring any major catastrophe, should have this one wrapped up as long as he had enough fuel to get there. We see Feliz lurking in the background. If something were to happen, that gap actually closing up quite a bit on the last lap. So I think Sortino just has enough fuel to make it to the end, and he'll be our inaugural Throttle Freaks GT3 Fixed Series winner. Congratulations to Ross Sortino across the line. Felix Feliz going to bring it home in second overall. We'll pop back in on David Bush, Colin McKenzie. Looks like Bush is going to hold on to take final step on the podium. McKenzie will bring it home fourth. Thurman and Steffi not too far behind them, rounding out the top 5 and 6. So Keen able to pull away from Jason Park and Kyle Strikers. I mentioned Jason Park here. Nice recovery from him. We saw him early on. Our pole sitter drop all the way down to the tail end of the field. Works his way back up into 8th overall. So nice recovery for Park. As you see the remainder of our field head into the line, Kevin Berquist and Josh Sheps with a little bit of a sprint to the line. Peterson in behind them. Gauthier and Jeffries, saw them battling it out the last couple laps. Gauthier is going to hold on to that spot. Ian Cabana, Waldo Walden, Eric Stout across the line. Neil Alexander is going to lead Jacob Fichtner. Christopher Rhines leading Carson Quint and Kyle Landon Morrison. Oh, Morrison. I thought maybe just enough fuel there to get across the line for Morrison. Mark Bray, Alex Hillman, and David Morris is going to be our final driver across the line.
Wow, that was a great race, and it just shows you how tough it is to pass. Like, the guys were nose to tail, and that last lap, they all knew what they had to do, and not many made changes, and not many positions changed at the end there.
Yeah, no doubt. It was good showing, Rich. There we go. We got the final standings. Felix Feliz. Hold on, Felix Feliz. That's GT3 Pro. Hold on here. Let's sort it by overall. There we go. Ross Sortino, our AM driver, brings home the win in the inaugural race of the Throttle Freaks GT3 Fixed Series. Felix Feliz in second, David Bush third, Colin McKenzie in fourth, Brett Thurman in fifth, Chase Steffi in sixth, Jerry Keene, Jason Park, Kyle Strikers, and Andrew Trickett ran out the top 10. We see Tyler Graff, Luke Davis, Drew DeWeese, Nico Sanadakis, and Dave Jensen in the top 15. Then we got Nathan Doogie, Andrew Venero, Ian Southern, Kevin Berquist, and Josh Sheps take a final spot in the top 20. We find Dale Peterson in 21st, Robert Jeffries 22nd, Ian Cabana in 23rd, Waldo Walden in 24th, Eric Stout in 25th, Neil Alexander 26th, Jacob Fichtner in 27th, Christopher Rhines in 28th, Carson Quint in 29th, Herbert Pineda in 30th, and then we find Kyle Morrison in 31st, Mark Bray 32nd, Alex Hillman 33rd, David Morris 34th, and rounding out the field, Seb Gauthier in 35th. I suspect Seb must have got a slowdown penalty that he didn't serve at the end because he was up farther than that and dropped back. So black flags will do that. Unfortunate for him. As we saw, he had a nice race going. But so we got a couple drivers in the interview booth. Let's have a chat with, let's see, Rich, if you can catch up with Ross Sortino here in the... Oh, hold on. We're not able to drag him in. So hold on here, Rich. No, we're not able to drag him in. It's an issue with the booth here. Hold on, Rich. All right, let's go into the waiting room.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Okay, Ross Sortino. Hold on, guys. I'm going to have to mute the other ones. For some reason, we couldn't pull you into the other chat. So, Ross, congratulations on your win there tonight, taking the inaugural race in the Throttle Freaks GT3 Fixed season. Tell us a little bit how your race went for you.
Honestly, it wasn't easy by any means. Felix was in the first stint before the pits. Felix was keeping me honest the whole way. We were within probably a second the whole first stint, just trading laps back and forth. And then after the pit stop, I had a little bit of an extra second gap. So I was able to, I guess, calm down a little bit and bring it home. I was just trying not to make any mistakes, but great race by Felix the whole way.
Yeah, nice run. We had mentioned that the AM Pro split doesn't really mean a whole lot once you get into the race. It's all about finishing up front and no doubt it was competitive all through qualifying. So congratulations, nice run. We'll
Thank
hope
you.
to see you up towards the top again next week at Watkins Glen. Is it a track that really favors you, Ross, or is it one that you need to work on?
I think it's going to be a track that's very competitive. Most of the guys in here probably have raced some endurance races and stuff, so it's a track everybody knows. So I think we'll be fighting for tenths or hundredths of a second the whole way. So it'll be exciting for sure, but I'll give it my best.
Perfect. Well, congrats on taking the win, overall win, plus the win in AM, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Okay, let's have a chat with Felix Feliz. Felix, you took the pro win. Um, couldn't quite catch up to the back of Ross Sortino. We thought maybe you were utilizing a little bit of fuel saving, staying within 7/8 and then a little longer a pit stop kind of cost you an extra second or so. Were you trying to save a little bit of fuel in behind Ross, or was he just a little bit quicker than you? You couldn't quite close that gap on him?
On the first few laps, I'll be honest, I was trying to go for a move. He was just too quick. I wasn't fast enough, so I figured, you know what, I'm just gonna save some fuel and jump in on the pits. But I don't think I set up my crew chief correctly, and I ended up with like 3 laps worth of fuel. So there goes my strategy, right?
Yeah, well, you still brought home the pro win, I guess. You were able to hold off the charging David Bush, Colin McKenzie, and Brett Thurman, who were embroiled in a battle for most of the last half of the race. Kind of just let you put it on cruise control, it looked like. But we head to Watkins next week. The Porsche, how you feeling wheeling the Porsche around Watkins next week?
It's a track that I've qualified well in the past, even though I spun out a few times on lap one. But I'm feeling pretty confident. I feel that the Porsche does well there, so we'll see.
Well, we hope to see you up top again next week. Congrats on taking the pro win in the inaugural race, and best of luck next week.
All right, thanks.
No problem. And lastly, we got our third place finisher overall, final step on the podium, David Bush the third, more affectionately known as D Bush. David, how'd that race go for you? We look. I mentioned earlier on that I classify you as a bit of a endurance specialist, where I mentioned to Rich in the booth that I suspected you were kind of try and settle into a comfortable pace, just kind of cruise from there and just kind of maintain and run maintenance at that point in time.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the name of the game this season. Just be very aggressive on qualifying and then try to just settle in. And if things work out, I'll be there to do something. And in this race, I kind of just lost the front two pretty early on and then just kind of had to go into defense mode and didn't really get a chance to pull away from anyone behind. So it was kind of just run my race, and then if the front two got into it, it'd be great, but it didn't happen. So I'll take the steady points and get this season started on the right foot.
Definitely. We saw a teammate, Colin McKenzie, starting to sneak up on the back of you at the end of the race. Were you guys chatting in comms? Was he trying to trash talk you at all, put some pressure on you, or were you comfortable that he wasn't going to try and make any moves?
I was slightly worried once I saw that he had gotten through the pack, but I didn't see any opportunities where he really was being too aggressive. But honestly, I would have been fine with swapping positions there as long as we just keep it clean and get some steady points.
Perfect. Well, lone Lambo in the field. How are you feeling about Watkins next week?
Once again, I got to be aggressive on quali and hope that I can start near the front. Any place that's high speed is going to be a bit slower for the Lambo, but we'll see a little good mix of tracks this season, and we'll see how it ends up going for me.
Excellent. Well, best of luck next week to you, D Bush, and we'll keep an eye and see how you do in qualifying.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Have a good one. Okay, well, there we go. That was our interviews in the GT3 fixed inaugural race for Throttle Freaks. We've got the Open Series coming up next. We're going to take a short little break here when we back out and get loaded into the Open Series race. And we'll pick back up with you shortly. Stick around. Okay, we are back again, Rich. This time we're back for the Open setup series here, Throttle Freaks inaugural Open setup series in the GT3 field. So our driver is just in the middle of qualifying here now. Same track, same cars, same time of the day, similar weather conditions, although it looks a little cloudier in the open series here than what it was in the fixed series we just had earlier on. So see if maybe we have a little quicker times with the open setups. If the sun or cloudiness, I guess, plays a little more of a role, having a little cooler track temps out there, Rich. But we'll see how it plays out here shortly. But we'll take a quick look and just go over the schedule. Same schedule for the 2 series. Again, we're at Red Bull Ring for week number 1. We just saw a excellent race in the fixed series. Hopefully we see much of the same here today, and then all the same great tracks all throughout this one. As look forward to the series. This season should be a great one, Rich. I expect a lot of good things out of this series.
Yeah, great track selections. We got a 10 race schedule. I expect some good tight racing, and looks like these drivers are gonna have a lot of fun this season.
Yeah, no doubt. We similar setup too as well. We've got pro drivers and AM drivers in here, although the iRatings, the iRacing rating system of driver skill levels and so forth, a little higher in this this race. What they call the SOF, I believe, was up over 3,000 for this series, where the fixed series, it was somewhere around 2,000 for the overall rating. So some higher skilled drivers in this this race here, and we should probably see a little bit quicker times through qualifying, as the drivers are able to alter the fuel load they're carrying around. And for their quality laps, you see a couple drivers pulling off to the side, cooling down their tires, Rich. But a little smaller field here too as well. Only got 26 cars in this one, and so a little more space out there for drivers. I'm not sure if that'll mean a little more room for passes or not, as we didn't see a whole lot of carnage, believe it or not, with 36 cars, I think it was, on the track for race number 1. So a little more room out here this time, 10 less cars, but I suspect the racing will still be as nose to tail as it was in race number 1.
Well, there's a reason these guys got their I ratings as high as they did, and it wasn't by sitting still. So we're watching Danny Tavares going around the track right now, exiting, it looks like, turn 4. He's sitting on provisional pole right now. He's got the quickest lap of the session, and looking to maintain that and keep that spot.
Yeah, nice run so far for Tavares, sitting at a 129.9. Actually, it's a little slower than what we saw in the fixed setup. So I didn't catch the track temp, but I'm assuming it must be a little hotter track temp out here. As it looks like the sun's coming out now. It's going to warm up the tires a little quicker, and these tires are only good for about 2 or 3 laps before you really start to see a little bit of a fall off, Rich. Then they go through a cycle for another, I'd say, about 10 laps or so, and then fall off a little more. So our drivers, most of them are probably going to take maybe 1 or 2 laps out there for their qual before they duck in and try and regroup for another run at it.
Yeah, we've got just under 2 minutes left in qualifying right now. Here we are looking at Matt Stadniak and in the SRTE orange car. Matt's sitting there so far 6 overall, it looks like, and in a great position, actually, doing well.
Yeah, nice run so far for Matt. But let's take a look at Blake Seedy, our current AM pole sitter, also sitting 4th overall in the field. So nice run for Blake Seedy so far. Someone who announcer we both know well, goes by the name of Joey something coined the name Baked ZD for Blake ZD. So we won't piggyback off Joey's name, but if you've seen the name Blake ZD before on other broadcasts, that's probably where you've picked it up from.
I've raced Blake many a times in a few different series over the years, and he's a formidable racer and sitting himself in a good position right now. 4th overall, it looks like. Good job, Blake.
Yeah, nice showing so far by Blake as we pick up David Mendonca. I believe David is one of the organizers of this series itself too as well. I saw him mention a little bit of a blurb in the pre-race posting on Discord. David, one of our higher iRating drivers too as well, sitting at a 5.1 K iRating. I believe actually he might be the highest ranked driver in the field here tonight, so no surprise seeing him up north the sharp end of the field here, as he looks like he's going to bail on his quality lap there and pull it over to the side.
Yeah, we're running out of time here. We've got Jim Felice. I wonder if he's related.
No relation.
Anyhow, He's racing. He's sitting in 4th in class, 5th overall.
Yeah, strong run for him. We're going to see him pull off too as well. Let's jump on with Kevin Simpson, who was just scooting on by Jim Feliz there. Kevin currently sitting in 13th overall with a 130.5. So we're seeing similar times out here, Rich, and not a whole lot of separation throughout the field. We've got pole at 129.9, and then if we go back 1 second, we got to go all the way back to about almost 20th place, 19th place, 130.9 before we see a separation of a second on track. So real tight laps out there. Should make for a real competitive race here again, this one.
Yeah, these cars seem to be fairly equally matched. We've got a bunch of different manufacturers represented, and there's not a whole lot of difference in the overall lap times. And I'd expect to see a similar race, hopefully, that we saw last one with some good close battles. Hopefully a little more passing is able to be taking place, but that will remain to be seen, Rob.
Yeah, we mentioned it earlier on. Red Bull, not a real potent track for a whole lot of overtaking opportunities. You've got turn 1, turn 3, and that's really, about it. You can try and force a pass here or there, but really those are your real prime overtaking opportunities, as we see Devin Brock, one of the last drivers, putting in a lap as we've passed the 15-minute mark. So anybody currently finishing up a lap, we're just waiting for them to cross the line. Devin's going to cross, currently in 24th, looking to improve on that. And doesn't look like he's going to do so. He's going to start 24th overall, which puts him 15th in the AM class. And looks like Devin was our final driver to put in a time. So we're just waiting for timing and scoring to reset. And then we'll fire up the grid here, Rich, and have a look and see what we've got for the inaugural race of the Open Series. There it is. You want to lead us through the top 12?
Sure, we got Nene Tavares in 1st place on pole, followed by Fernando Jacques in 2nd. We've got Juan Malagon in 3rd, and Corey Cerrone in 4th. He's leading off our amateur division. Blake Ziti in 5th, Matt Stadniak in 6th, Jim Feliz in 7th. We've got David Mendonca on 8th, William Fence in 9th, Gonzalo Cortez in 10th. We got Emmett Lindquist in 11th. Luis Grulon in 12th.
Yeah, and then we're going to find Sean Carmody in 13th, Kevin Simpson in 14th, Joey Costello in 15th, Douglas Curry in 16th, Aaron Lewis 17th, Pete Magia in 18th, Tony Costello in 19th, Nestor Santana rounding out the top 20, Josh Spears in 24th, Artie Mercedes in 22nd, Bryce Bombeck in 23rd, and Devin Brock in 24th. And then rounding out the field, we'll find Ivan Bisono in 25th and Adam Ostrich in 26th. So there's our 26 car grid for the inaugural Open Series of Throttle Freaks. We got 26 freaks on the track for this one, Rich, and they'll all be looking to plant themselves in the history books here with the first race of the Open Series. Looks like we got a couple of teammates out front. Actually, looks like we got the bit of a domination. The top 3, we're just waiting for Juan Malgon to join the track, but 3 countrymen up top of this one. Suspect them to be very familiar with each other and work through the field, but couple teammates, Nani Tavares and Fernando Jacques, is going to lead them around for this one, Rich.
Yeah, only a second and a half separates first to last on the grid, so expect some good tight racing, and hopefully we get a nice clean start as we work our way around this very short pace lap, which we're very thankful for, and we're going to get this racing underway very shortly here.
Yeah, another nice, quick, short pace lap. Thank you, I'm going to say, Nick McLaughlin, for checking that short pace lap option when you were setting up that session. Ain't nobody got time for full pace laps around here. But there we go into the final corners, and the pace car about to duck off, and we're about to get underway for the inaugural race Open Setup Series Throttle Freaks GT3 Pro and Am division. There we go. Tavares and Jacques lead them to the green flag. The field is away. So far, so good into turn 1, Rich.
Yeah, it looks like everybody, the first 3 cars are lined up, but we've got going 2 wide through those teammates, the SRTE Orange. Everybody's looking like they're taking nice tight lines. We're going 2, almost 3 wide, but everybody looks like they got through clean there, Rob.
Yeah, 2 races in a row. Would you have it at Red Bull Ring? No carnage into lap 1. I might have just jinxed it again, but you know what? I'm here for it. As we got a couple cars going side by side. That's the 5 of Jim Feliz trying to make a move in around the Acura of Gonzalo Cortez. Looks like Feliz is going to take that spot away from Cortez. Cortez not ready to give it up. He's going to try and fight back on the outside. Feliz is going to have the preferred position on the inside here. But if Cortez can stay on the outside, he'll have a preferred line. In the next corner, we see a car dropping a tire into the dirt. It's one of the Acuras up ahead. I think that might have been Blake Ziti, one of the SRT-E orange cars. He's battling teammate, Matt Stadniak, tripping on my tongue here on the outside. Stadniak lets him go. He's not going to fight his teammate too hard here early on in this one. It's just a matter of tucking back in, trying to work together, trying to hold David Mendonca off the back end. Mendonca looking strong in that Porsche. He's kind of splitting up the SRT-E orange cars here as he's a army of one trying to fight through there. Oh, Grullon going to send it in deep on the inside of Mendonca into the final corner. Mendonca's going to get the better run out of there, though. But Grullon, with a send of all sends, Max
He threw that in hard.
there. He held the wheel and let Jesus take over at that point in time. Oh, no, Grullon's going to tag Mendonca into turn one.
Again.
Oh, that's not what we like to see. Unfortunately, there, Mendonca falling all the way back to the tail end of the field. 21st, 20th spot now back on track. Looks like we had another car off there too as well. One of the Acuras that might have been
same move on the next 2 cars back.
Yeah, it was William Fenson off on the right-hand side there too as well. So we'll take a look at that one shortly here. We'll get the replay queued up. But out front, we've got our 3 cars that started at the front of the grid, Rich, starting to pull away from Corey Cerrone here in 4th place. Corey in the SRT-E car, green. He's got some sister cars of Ziti and Stadniak in the orange, trailing him behind. So not sure if those 3 cars can join up together and try and chase down the 3 up ahead.
Yeah, the SRT-E orange cars are all working together really well, but so are these guys up front. We've got Nane Tavares and Fernando Jacques still number 1, 2, and Juan Malagon want a little word about that. He's got the angry teeth on the front of that car, and he's looking pretty hungry.
And no doubt. Let's take a quick look, recap here. What happened to Mendonca and Grullon early on. Heading into turn 1, we see Grullon dive into the inside, just not quite enough space there. Doesn't account for Mendonca having to turn, and a couple cars tagged up ahead, but they get straightened back out. So unfortunately for Mendonca, it's going to drop him back to the back, but I think he might have the pace to try and move back up through the field again, but we'll see how that shapes out. 5 minutes longer this race, Rich, so a little more strategy coming into this one. Drivers can utilize maybe the undercut a little more versus what they did in the fixed race, where we had a few more cars on track. It was a little harder to try and find a spot on track to duck into the pits and drop back out and not be in the middle of a battle somewhere. But we pick up Kevin Sibson right now in the Solpec Precision Racing Acura. He's got teammate Emmett Lindquist up ahead of him, but right now Sibson trying to hold Aaron Luce off behind him, a fellow Acura driver. Luce diving in a little deeper through the corner there, but Sibson's going to get a better drive off the corner holding that spot. He's got a pair of teammates, Pete Magia and Aaron Luce, in behind. So they'll be trying to work together to try and chase down the 2 Solpec cars up ahead.
Yeah, it's always nice to have a teammate around you. You make a little mistake, it doesn't cost you, and it gives you 2 chances to pounce. Once again, we're seeing, much like the earlier race, we're seeing the race separate out into several few car packs. Although this one looks like, they're just a little separated, but there's 10 cars there within a couple of seconds of each other.
Yeah, we've got our leaders have a bit of a gap over from P8. I'd say 1st to 7th is only separated by about 3 or 4 seconds at the most. But then from 8th place, Rich, all the way back to, looks like about 20th spot, only about a second and a half separating them. So we're seeing the middle of the draft train here as they're carrying around. So right now, Louis Grullon, the car we saw involved early on with David Mendonca. I'm not sure if that's Mendonca or Mendonca. I'll have to see if we can get a pronunciation on that. But Grullon was the car that dove up on the inside. sent Mendonca for a ride, and right now he's leading this pack with Lindquist, Costello, and Simpson in tow.
Yeah, it looks like he's got himself about a half-second gap. He's got, the other guys are a lot tighter, and as long as he can continue to maintain this, he's looking okay, but that big draft train behind him has got to be a little imposing.
Yeah, no doubt. Seeing some flagging here for possibly Jim Feliz had a crash. Let's see if we can take a quick look at what happened there. See Feliz in the orange SRT E car on the outside. He's got the Acura. Oh, the McLaren on the inside, similar to what we saw happen to Mendonca early on into turn 1. We'll have to see how the stewards rule those two incidents. If obviously, of course, if they get protested, but Feliz taking the grass for the rejoin, you can't really ask for much more of a nice calm rejoin than that. Staying on the grass, staying out of the way as much as he can, and rejoins where he can find a spot.
Yeah, we've got Emmett Lundquist here going up into turn 1. He's following Louis Gruon. Oh, Louis went way wide, and wow, taking advantage there, moving up.
Yeah, it's going to cost him a couple spots. Is Joey Costello going to get around him too as well? So Costello going to take advantage of Gruya going off. Lindquist going to take advantage of Gruya going off. Now Gruya is going to have to deal with Lindquist's teammate Kevin Simpson in behind him. So right now we got Costello and Gruya, a bit of a meet in the Solpec Precision Racing sandwich here. We'll see if there's any kind of communication between Lindquist and Simpson to try and maneuver these two cars ahead of the Acura and the McLaren in between them.
I'm sure there's some communication going on. We'll see how well it works, though. You can put the best plan into place, but it doesn't always work the way you hope. Lewis is he's got pace, so hopefully he can keep working his way up the field and get back there where he was. So rather unfortunate earlier.
Yeah, we jump on board here with Josh Spears. He's at the tail end of this 8 or 9 car pack now. Josh in the black and I guess that's kind of silver colored Porsche. He's got Artie Mercedes up ahead of him. I always think Artie Mercedes should be in a Mercedes, but I can see why he's not driving it. The Mercedes, generally not one of the preferred cars the last few seasons. Unfortunate what iRacing's done to it, as it was one of the premium preferred cars in seasons past. But it looks like Spears going to try and make a move on Mercedes, backs out of it. We saw that go wrong numerous times before, but just being in behind them, David Mendonca was probably hoping that they'd clear each other out ahead of him and he'd be able to cruise on through, but he's getting a good run on Spears. Let's go on board here with Mendonca and see if he's able to make that move into turn 3. Not quite close enough to dive up to the inside. He doesn't want to send Spears for a ride like happened to him earlier on, but a little bit out of the draft here now to make a move into next corner. It's really hard when you got that many cars in a line, Rich, to really get a good draft. Everybody's kind of drafting off each other. You can't really get a whole lot of movement through the air to close that up. You're kind of stuck in dirty air with nowhere to go.
You know, they're just in a big draft train here and not a whole lot going on. You really got to just be close enough to take advantage when if a person ahead of you makes a mistake or the person ahead of you tries for a pass that doesn't work, you're right there to take advantage. David's kind of stuck. We're going to go back up to a little closer to the front. We got Corey Sircone and Blake Seedy having a little battle here. Once again, we got a nice little 3-car train, and we'll just see if he's able to hold off the Chargers coming up behind him.
Yeah, no, these are 2 SRTE cars, but they're on sister teams. We got SRTE Green, represented by Corey Cerrone, and then sister car Blake Seedy, and actually Matt Stadnick, another SRTE orange car in behind. So I don't suspect that Seedy will get real aggressive with the move, although we see him getting close up on the tailpipe of Cerrone, maybe getting Corey a little nervous when he saw that in his rearview mirrors. But it looks like they're trying to work together to chase down Juan Malagon, who has been dropped off the back of Tavares and Jaquez up ahead. So Malagon, I'm not sure if he's dropped back to try and work a draft train with these two to try and close down the gap, or he's just been sheer pace in that Mercedes where it's starting to fall off. As I mentioned, the Mercedes has kind of fallen out of favor in GT3 lately. It's a car that, if I remember correctly, kind of burns up his tires a little bit if you don't be real careful with it. So we might see Malagon trying to conserve his stuff here for a little bit, drop back, slowing down the car a little bit, cooling off the tires for a charge in another few laps.
Yeah, it's we're in lap 7 here, and I mean they've fallen. The front two guys are pulled up a little bit of ahead, but they're not out of the woods. And you know, if they can work together, they should be able to pull back up because nobody's really got an outstanding pace over somebody else.
Yeah, there's very similar quick lap times throughout the field. Let's actually take a look here. So the fastest lap right now is a 1:30.32, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm gonna say about 8 to 10 drivers that are only about 2 to 3 tenths off that. So real tight lap times throughout the field. Really nobody running away with it so far, Rich. Although Tavares and Jaquez are out front, pair of teammates. They might just have it on fuel conserve mode here. We'll see if they switch around, swap spots a little later on in the race, if they're possibly trying to fuel save each other, if they have that strategy going. But right now, the two of them just kind of have it on cruise control out front.
Yeah, the smart move is just you know, don't wreck your tires. You don't need the fastest lap of the race right now. Just maintain the gap, maybe slightly increase it, and try and work together to stay ahead of third place.
And no doubt. So we jump back up here with Joey Costello in the SRT orange car, trying to put some pressure on Emmett Lindquist. It's like Grouillon dropped off the back of Costello here, and he's having to deal with Simpson. But right now, Lindquist has a mirror full of that SRT-E Acura of Costello, trying to put a whole lot of pressure on the tail end of Lindquist. We're going to come around to finish up lap number 9 here. See who gets a better run onto the front straight and see if potentially Costello can make a move into turn 1 and try and get around Lindquist.
Oh, you got a great exit. It looks like he's all over him. It's just a matter of, you know, this straight isn't that long, and it looks like he's just going to wait until maybe perhaps the end of the next straight and hopefully get a better exit.
Yeah, no room to make a move there yet, but again, another heavy draft zone here heading into turn 3 as they head through the not a turn 2 into turn 3. But again, not close enough to make a move for Costello. Staying tight on the back there, but as he's not making the move on Lindquist, that's allowing Grouillon and Simpson to close that gap back up on the back of Costello. So he might want to try and make a move around Costello here soon, or he's going to have to deal with those two cars trailing in behind him, but even not too far back of them, we've got Tony Costello. I'm not sure if there's any relation there between Joey and Tony, but right now Tony kind of leading around this pack of Aaron Lewis, Josh Spears, Pete Mejia, and David Mendonca as they're trying to work their way back up through the field. See Mendonca looking to the inside of Mejia, just letting him know he's there. Pete not buying it right now. He's focused forward, and David's going to have to try and find another way around.
Yeah, good close battle here. They've been they were side by side earlier. We saw them in the background, but not a whole lot of movement going on right now at this stage of the race. 13 minutes in, we're on lap 10.
Yeah, it seems like everyone's kind of getting a little comfortable in their position, try and fuel save, get tucked in, save your stuff for a little bit. It's a longer race than what we saw. We're only 14 minutes into this one. Still 36 minutes to go, or sorry, 24. 26. Oh, my math is awful, Rich. 26 minutes to go in this one, so still plenty of time to make a move. They still need to come in for fuel. No tires, but still a lot of strategy to play out in this one.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see who decides to drive in early to the pits. And meanwhile, we've got Bryce Bombeck. He's all over the back end of William Fenson and making a good run, strong run, going up to turn 3. It looks like he's going to be content here just to sit tight and maybe hopefully get a better exit going up towards turn 4.
Yeah, Fenson we saw off on the right-hand side when Mendonca had his spin in lap 1. Unfortunate bystander of that. I think he just got bumped by a car trying to avoid it, so he's on a bit of a recovery run. Bombeck trying to stay on his tailpipe to hopefully have Fenson tow him up through the field. They've got Artie Mercedes and Devin Brock up ahead, so they'll be trying to close on the gap. But Ivan Bassano starting to sneak up on the back of Bombeck. Now only 1.4 seconds, quickly taking another couple tenths off that last corner. So Bassano showing a little bit of speed. Last time he 3/10 quicker than Bombeck up ahead. So if we can continue that pace, we'll be within striking distance here of Bombeck shortly.
Yeah, it's right now everybody's just gapped out a little bit in this position, but we're gonna go back up Joey Costello here. We've got this nice three and a half car train, we'll call it, going up into turn one. Joey though maintaining position. We got Emmett Landquist right behind him, and these two guys are battling hard. We're going up towards turn two for you, Rob, and we'll see what happens here on this nice tight left-hander.
Yeah, Costello just made that move, stick, and go around Lindquist. We'll take a look at how he did that here shortly after they get through turn three. Here's a quick little replay of how Costello got around. Oh, looks like Lindquist had to serve a slowdown out of the final corner, and Costello didn't need to be asked twice. He was going to take that spot. But thankfully for Lindquist, he was able to serve that and only lose the one spot, although he has Luis Grullon tight on his back bumper now. Simpson's fallen off the back of that battle a little bit there now in his Acura. He's fallen 1.3 seconds back. So he's going to have to gather himself up, try and push a little farther forward, try and make that charge up there.
Yeah, it's been a tough one, but let's see what keeps going. And wow, look at this battle we got going on here. We've got Devin Brock. It looks like all over the back end of David Mendonca. David's had great pace, but and these guys are battling hard up here, Rob.
Yeah, Mendonca, I believe, just got around Brock. He was chasing them down earlier on. He caught the back of that pack that was Brock, Mejia, and a couple of the cars. But looks like Mendonca is going to be our first car into the pits. He's going to take and try for the undercut, which is probably fitting. He was trying to recover from that early spin on, if had him drop back to the back of the pack, Rich. So I think he should come out into some clean air. So this is probably a good strategy for him, especially if those cars were holding him up ahead. He could take advantage of this, get himself into some clear air and put in some quick laps.
Yeah, I'm not often a fan of coming in early on a 40-minute sprint race, but in this situation, that was, I think, well advised and a good move. We'll see how it works out for him. Meanwhile, we got Blake Ziti here. He's still trying hard against Corey Sircone, and Blake's having himself a great race, sitting fifth overall so far.
Yeah, nice race for Blake. Again, couple teammates, sister teams here, but it looks like Blake might have a little more pace than Corey. I don't know if they might be at an advantage here to try and swap positions, see if Blake can try and pull them up closer to Juan Malagon up ahead, as we see Juan starting to open up a bit of a gap over them. They were within a tenth or two of him not too long ago, but they've fallen back off the pack here. I think Cerrone might be a little bit of the cork in the bottle right now. They might want to release Ziti and then have Cerrone tucked in behind and pursue that chase. But let's jump back to Pete Mejia here, as he's got the Porsche of Josh Spears up ahead. Looks like Spears is going to duck into the pits. He almost got tagged on the rear bumper by Mejia as he bailed in. So I'm assuming Spears didn't get on the mic and let him know that he was pitting in. So a little bit of a nice avoidance there by Mejia not to get in the back of Brock.
He came in from a long way out too, so that was rather unexpected. I'm sure if you're following him behind there. Let's see how he shakes out with these early pit stops.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's see David Mendonca back on track after his pit stop here. Let's see. Looks like he's got himself into some clear air. Car up ahead, almost 2 seconds up the track. So we'll see what kind of lap times he can put in to try and get himself back up back up at the front of the pack, Rich, at the sharp end of the field, trying recovering from that spin. So if he can put in some real quick laps here, he might actually leapfrog a number of drivers through pit strategy here. We'll have to see how it plays out as the race goes on a little further.
Yeah, I think he'll definitely make up a few positions he would have otherwise been stuck behind there. Meanwhile, we've got Bryce Bombeck in a nice move here and a nice close battle. We had a little bit of a gravel spread there, but not too bad. Just a little dusty conditions for the guys. They're racing around the infield here. Nice, elevation changes throughout here at Red Bull Ring, and you got to drive your lines and very, very well. Otherwise, with these elevation changes, if you're not doing your trail braking right, you're gonna throw the car all out of balance. We're not here at a flat track. This thing's got a lot of elevation.
Yeah, Red Bull Ring, one of the few Formula One grade, FIA grade 1 tracks that have elevation. A lot of the Formula One tracks are, famous for being more or less flat tracks and not really a whole lot of elevation. But I mentioned earlier, Cerrone possibly the cork in the bottle, but looks like he's found a couple extra percent of that throttle pedal, and he's starting to pull away from Ziti and closing that gap on Juan Malagon up ahead. So I'm not sure if he's got the stream going. He heard me trash talking him and said, I'm going to show that guy and take off. But Cerrone got the go pedal down now and trying to chase down Malagon up ahead.
Yeah, he's before he had Blake Ziti all over him. I know they're sister teams, but now instead of looking back, he's looking forward, and he's definitely closing up the gap here, Rob. It'll be interesting to see when these guys decide to pit, because now we're past the halfway point of this race. So anytime I'd expect people to start coming in, but it's hard to give up track position, and here they go.
Yeah, I would think, if I remember correctly, they're limited to about 45% of the fuel tank, which should get them to about the 30-minute mark, maybe, if they really push it and they fuel save. So we still got a few more laps, I think, before the drivers have to come in. But we should start seeing a few more of them pop in here shortly as we jump back into the battle here between Lindquist and Costello. We saw Costello able to leapfrog Lindquist as he was serving his slowdown. Lindquist trying to put some pressure on the back of Costello here now, but Gruillon starting to get into the conversation here in 10th overall, chasing down Lindquist and Costello. We might have a 3-car battle here for 8th place in a matter of seconds here, Rich.
Yeah, Gruillon's got some speed. That one little off-track excursion cost him a few places, but he's pushing hard. We've got these 3 guys coming down that back straight. I don't expect any moves here. It's a tough position, as we said earlier, to make that move on turn 4, but it's all about setting yourself up for the exit of the last corner.
Yeah, it looked like Lindquist got a much better exit out of turn 3 than Gruillon got, and was able to actually open up the gap over him there. But let's take a look back at Devin Brock. He's caught up to the back of Pete Mejia, a couple of Acuras battling it out here. That's for 14th and 15th overall. Real competitive race here between the two of them. These similar skilled drivers. Pete Mejia with a just over 2,000 iRating. Devin Brock just over 2,400 iRating, so fairly closely matched in skill level here, and that's why we're seeing them very close on track too as well.
Yeah, great paint jobs too on both those cars. You gotta say there, Rob. This is the first time I've actually seen the Acura. I haven't been in GT3 for a while, so nice looking car.
Yeah, the Acura is I think it's probably one of the better looking GT3s, but unfortunately it sounds like a vacuum cleaner, Rich. I hate the sound of it. The twin turbos on it just muffle the sound, and it's unfortunate. But take a look here. Corey Cerrone, he's got teammate sister car Blake Ziti back on the back end of them now as these SRT-E cars starting to put some pressure on Juan Malagon up ahead. But not sure if that's Fernando Jaquez up ahead of him. No, that was a lap car up ahead, Ivan Bissono. I thought maybe something happened to Jaquez and they were closing down that gap, but they've got 4 seconds between them back there. So our top 2 still stretching their legs out. We haven't seen a strategy like I thought where they might swap positions, Rich. So no real fuel saving, I guess, going on between these 2 cars. I thought they would take the opportunity to swap positions, go halfway through, take turns saving fuel and trying to push their pit window as far as they can. But looks like Tavares is comfortable out front and Jaquez just towing around in behind.
Well, I don't really blame Fernando. If I could sit in second the whole race and save fuel, why not? And you're still, they're pulling off 3.5 seconds behind Fernando, 4 seconds behind the leader. So, they're pulling a gap. Meanwhile, back here, we've got Douglas Curry. He's sitting in 19th place overall, getting up nice and tight to behind Bryce Bombeck.
Yeah, we've seen Bombeck have a couple battles with a couple different cars so far in this one. He was battling with Fenson earlier on, but it looks like Fenson, I'm not seeing him. Oh, he's moved up a couple spots, so he was able to pull away from from Bryce, and now he's having to deal with Douglas Curry. Now, as these 2 cars head through turn 1, you see Bombeck using up all the curb and then some. Curry a little more controlled through turn 1. It's going to allow him to get a little better run. Not quite close enough to make a move into turn 3, though. But it looks like he's going to have to settle for maybe tucking in and trying to make another move into turn 5 at the top, or at the bottom of the hills.
Well, if they didn't want to use the curb, Rob, they wouldn't put them there. And the track is a track width and a curb width wide. So these guys are nice and tight. But let's move up a bit and see how Corey Cerrone is doing. This battle is nice and tight, but it's been pretty consistent like this for the better part of this race so far, Rob. Everybody seems either content or just not able to make a move on the guy ahead of them.
Yeah, it seems to be once you get into the dirty air and the GT3s, it becomes really hard to find that extra tenth or two to make a move. You really got to kind of try and back your braking up in the corner to get a real strong run out of the corner, where we'll see, it looks like Cerrone might have got a good run out of that corner. We'll see if he's able to use the draft to make a move on Malagon, but it looks like that Mercedes has a little more top end power than the Acuras. The Acuras just kind of choke out of the top end, and the Mercedes able to hold that gap up, but the Acuras heavier, or a lot better on the braking. The heavy braking by Corey Cerrone closes that gap, so we might see a move here shortly. Malagon, not quite the entrance and exit into turn 3 that he'd want, but you're going to try and use that Mercedes horsepower to open up the gap over the vacuum cleaner Acuras in behind. So far you're able to hold them off.
Yeah, this may turn out to be a lot like we saw in the Fixed Series race, Rob, where a lot of the passing happens in the pits because it's hard to do it out on the track, and it's a lot easier to make up 3/10 in the pits than it is out here.
Yeah, no doubt. It's definitely tough. Our leaders getting a little closer here, but looks like Malagon actually might be closing that gap a little bit. I'm not sure if maybe the pressure from Cerrone and Ziti is starting to push Malagon for a little quicker laps, as he's run a 130.4 last time by to Jaquez's 130.7. So a couple tenths taken out of that one by Malagon. The pressure might be pushed him to put in a little quicker lap than what he was normally doing, and they're starting to run out of time. We still got 12 and a half minutes to go in this one, so they really need to push if they want to close that gap in, but I suspect the fuel saving out front should be able to keep Jaquez and Tavares out front. But we'll hop back a little bit to see what's going on between Grullon, Costello, Lindquist. This battle we've kind of focused in and out on. Simpson closing back in on this battle. We saw him drop back a couple seconds of that battle. He's been put his head down and really starting to close down the gap on the 3 cars up ahead to see if he can be a factor in that battle.
Yeah, it's tough. It's been a tough go to get to this position, and he's just about himself back in draft range, so that should help him immensely in trying to close in and make this a 4-car battle to see who can advance here.
Yeah, definitely. It's a bit of a game of attrition, I guess, Rich. You got to try and force your fellow driver into a mistake and not make a mistake yourself. But so far, we haven't seen a whole lot of carnage. I'm looking through timing and scoring. Not a whole lot of flags. A couple cars dropping a tire off track here and there. But other than the 2 real incidents we caught, there hasn't been any real argy-bargy. So it's been relatively clean. We love to see it. We love to see the battles being fair. But Costello getting some pressure on Grullon there. Looks like Costello had to back out of it a little bit, and that's dropped him into the clutches of Grullon. Looks like Costello and Grullon, and Lundquist all going to come into the pits. So I believe we're at the tail end of the pit window now, as a lot of our top contenders starting to come into the pits here, Rich. So we'll see how they cycle through as far as pit times, and this is where we're going to really see whether Mendonca's early undercut has played out well for him, so we pick him up on track.
Yeah, I would expect to see he's going to gain a lot of those positions he lost earlier, and just by choosing that strategy, it looks like we've still got at least another lap or two that I think the drivers can come in, because we've still got more than half the field hasn't pitted yet, Rob. So it'll be interesting where we're going to be in another 2 laps and see who ends up where.
Yeah, none of our top 12 as it stands right now have come into the pit, so we'll see how they cycle through. As there goes Mendonca. He was able to pick up a couple spots. He's closed the gap on Grullon, who was the car that we saw him tangle with early on. So we'll see if they renew their battle. But I don't think the undercut played out as well as he hoped it would, but still a little bit of the race to go to see how that fully plays out.
We've got Aaron Lewis here. Aaron sitting 8th overall, 3rd in class. Beautiful looking Acura, just making his way around. Looks like a teammate right behind him, if I'm not mistaken. And these guys are doing well, and it's just a matter of time, though. They do have to pit still.
Yeah, we suspect we'll see them in here any moment as some more of our top 10 are coming in. There they are. They're pulling in. I think we're at the final end of it. Our leaders, Fernando Jaquez and Juan Malagon, have not pit, although Tavares came in last time. So he was the lead Ferrari of those two teammates that we saw out front. Jaquez was able to go that one extra lap, staying tucked in behind Tavares again. I'm surprised they didn't swap halfway through and try and get a bit of fuel savings for both cars to try and bring them both home at the top of the standings, Rich.
Well, you know what that tells me? There's no team orders here. It looks like they've each know they've got the pace to win this, and I think each of them wants to, and they're trying a little bit different strategy to help their cause. So kudos. That means we got some great racing coming up in the last 5 or 6 minutes, I think, Rob.
Yeah, we're just over 8 minutes to go, so definitely at the end of the fuel window. I thought it would be around the 30-minute mark, so they're actually able to go a little bit farther than I was suspecting. But this final little rush or dash that we got going on between Malagon and Cerrone, Malagon was able to open up a couple seconds over Cerrone that last lap, so I'm not sure if Cerrone was trying to fuel save around. He wasn't quite sure he'd be able to make it all the way around or not, but they're ducking into the pits, and that's going to promote Enea Tavares back up into the lead once he comes around here. So we'll see. He should be able to leapfrog his teammate Fernando Jaquez, who's in the pits here now. See Jaquez still in his stall. Tavares, looks like Cerrone drove a little deep into his stall to back it up, but Tavares coming across the line here now. Jaquez actually exiting pit road. It's going to be interesting to see how they come off pit road. It might be close here.
It's going to be very close.
Oh, it's a drag race down the front straight. I'm surprised it's that close. Oh, Tavares able to hold off Jaquez. That fuel saving in behind his teammate Tavares almost allowed Jaquez to leapfrog him. But now we'll see if there's any real team orders here, Rich, if they battle out at the end. But Juan Malagon looks like the winner through the pit cycle. He's closed down that gap on the lead too. Let's see, Malagon's time cone to cone, 39.5 to Tavares and Jaquez, 40.3 for Jaquez and a 42 flat for Tavares. So show you the difference between fuel saving by Jaquez following Tavares around. He was able to save a couple seconds in the pits, but Tavares, one of the slower lap times out there as he was running the quick laps, and he was having to tow his teammate around.
Yeah, but the big winner there is Juan Malagon. He made up basically almost a full second on the leaders, and he's not out of range now. Before, he wasn't really as close in the picture. But we'll see what happens, and if these guys can start working their way and start pulling a gap again, and we'll find out as the race progresses.
No doubt. So check back in on the battle here for 14th overall, currently held down by Devin Brock. He's got a pair of teammates, Aaron Lewis and Pete Mejia, in behind. And I believe they got William Fenson in the back of this pack here in the orange McLaren. So we've got 3 Acuras and then a McLaren on the back end. So interesting to see here if the lone McLaren is able to utilize a little more horsepower. I know offhand the McLaren's got a little more top end speed than the Acuras, but he's at the back end of this pack. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to utilize that full speed potential, Rich. We'll have to see how it plays out here for Fenson, but they're slowly closing in on Feliz and Costello up ahead.
Yeah, it's a battle, and that train is catching them. I mean, these two guys are a little spread apart, and the train is moving on up. And Jim Feliz sitting there in 13th overall, and the SRTE orange car, but he's not able to do anything against Tony Costello ahead of him.
Just like the Jeffersons, they're moving on up, Rich.
You got it.
Let's take a look in here in this battle we featured a few times, Lindquist and Costello. Lindquist looks like he's settled in, been able to hold off Costello after he's got back around him. Simpson got around Gruyon through the pit cycle. So a couple Solpack Precision Racing cars sandwiching the SRTE orange car of Joey Costello. So a couple teams battling it out here. Gruyon falling off the back of Simpson. David Mendonca got himself back up into 11th spot, 3 spots down from where he qualified. So it's taken him 35 minutes, but he's almost back to where he started. That's it's got to be a bit of a consolation prize here for
yeah, that's some perseverance.
The perseverance award of the night might go to David Mendonca, but our big winners so far the night, up 10 spots. Devin Brock into 14th place, started in 24th, up into 14th. He's towing around Aaron Lewis, Pete Maggia, and William Fenson, trying to catch Feliz and Costello up ahead. But right now, needs a little bit of help from those 2 Acuras in behind him to really give him a push to form a draft train to try and choo down on Costello and Mendonca up ahead. Or sorry, Costello and Feliz up ahead.
As long as that push isn't too much of a push, you know what I'm saying. Meanwhile, we're watching Jim Feliz here. He's still hanging behind Tony Costello. Not much changing going on here. Just nose kind of tail, follow the leader at this stage of the race.
Yeah, so what you're saying is they need a bit of a tush push there for the football fans.
Yeah. You got it right. Meanwhile, we got Douglas Corey here, Ivan Bassano. Looks like 2 teammates going down, about to enter turn 4, it looks like, and just nice and close, but I don't expect to be too aggressive with each other here.
Yeah, you never know with teammates, Rich. We've seen teammates clear their teammate out, but looks like Curry going to make the move around Bassano. Bassano going to fight back on the outside, so it doesn't look like there's any real team orders here, or they're just trying to push each other to stay ahead of Sean Carmody, who's starting to sneak into the picture here behind them.
Well, Sean's going to get himself right back in there if they keep driving like that. It's always great to have guys battling ahead of you because they're not driving at their optimal pace then.
Yeah, no doubt. If you can get them focusing more on their rear view mirror than out their windshield, that's exactly what you need. That's when the lap times start to go down and the gap closes up, as we see Carmody actually doing well out of that final corner to close that gap on the pair of teammates up ahead in the McLaren and the Acura.
Yeah, he just got himself right into draft range, which will make holding on to this position and pulling up to these guys a little bit easier than it has been.
No doubt, as we look out the back of Ian Bassano now at Carmody, we'll see if Carmody is able to close up again through turn 3. He seems to be really good on the brakes. Not quite so much that time, but he closes the gap a little bit. Looks like the McLaren a little better out of the corner, though, than that Acura. So Carmody's still got some work to do to try and get up in that battle. But let's go take a look at Jim Feliz as he's towing around Tony Costello, a couple SRTE sister cars battling it out here. They're trying to stay ahead of Devin Brock, who's towing around Aaron Lewis, Pete Maggia, and William Fenson in behind. So we're getting down to the nitty gritty with just over a minute and a half left to go in this one. Rich, I suspect we should be seeing the white flag possibly this time by.
Yeah, can we take a look at the leaders, Rob? See where they're at on track.
We certainly can. They're heading into turn 3.
Yeah, so we've got, this is the penultimate lap, it looks like, and we're going to have one more after this, and we're going to be able to see if Fernando Jaques has anything for Nani Tavares. It's been a great 1-2 the whole race long, but I think they've both been setting it up for this moment, the last lap coming up, and see who's got what it takes. Can Nani hold off Fernando?
Yeah, we know Malagon in 3rd. Would love to see team orders thrown out the window between the 2 of them up ahead, and for them to battle to the death, and for him to sneak in and take the win. But that's unfortunately he's too far back to try and make a charge unless something were to happen between these 2. So we'll see if it's team orders as they head into the final sector here now and get ready to cross the line to finish start the final lap here, Rich.
I've been waiting 39 minutes for this, Rob. I thought it would come down to this, and it looks like it has. Here we got Barney waving the white flag, and it's go time. It's go time, guys. Who's got what? Let's see what you got, Fernando. Can you make the move?
Yeah, time for the gloves to come off. We'll see if Tavares is going to go wide. that might have been bordering a slowdown. He's going to try and throw a little bit of a block on his teammate Jacques. Jacques crosses over to the outside. It's going to be a battle of the late breakers here to see who gets it done. Jacques with a little bit of a nose ahead. Tavares going to try and be late on the brakes. He's going to have the inside line. Jacques leaves him some room. Looks like Jacques gets into the throttle a little quicker on the outside. Tavares trying to fight back on the inside here as they head down into turn 5. Almost a little bit of tap of the right rear quarter by Tavares on Jacques' right rear. Looks like Tavares diving late on the brakes into the corner. Jacques is going to try and get in the throttle earlier on the outside. They head in around behind the Red Bull into the next corner. Tavares will have the preferred line through the next 3 corners. It's going to take a whole lot of fight here from Jacques to get in around the outside.
Well, he's holding on, though. This has been fabulous racing side by side for the last 5 corners, Rob. This is what you want to see. These guys are driving hard and holding on the inside. Looks like we got Tavares back up into the lead. They're no longer side by side. 2 corners left. What's going to happen, Rob?
I think Tavares might have this one, barring a slowdown in the final corner. He used up all the track and then some to make that move back around. Jacques, we got a car off on the side. Looks like Jacques gets in the tail end. Tavares has a back out of it. Doesn't want to wreck his teammate, but they're going to come across the line. But Malagon was loving seeing that in third. He almost snatched away victory if they were to head off the corner. So an excellent finish there by our top 2 drivers. We jump back here to Staniak leading Gonzalo Cortez across the line. Lindquist is going to stay ahead of Costello and Simpson. Grullon's going to lead Mendonca around. Mendonca only able to get back to 11th. Jim Feliz and sister teammate Tony Costello across the line. We got that 4-car back. Looks like Devin Brook might have run out of fuel at the end. He was leading that 4-car back. He's trying to coast it across the line. Artie Mercedes trying to take that spot away from him. Mercedes is going to do it at the last second. Unfortunate for Brock. He's going to wheel across the line there for him. Fenton and Curry come across. We're just waiting for a few more drivers. Asano, Blake Zedis dropped all the way back. Nestor Santana across the line. Adam Ostrich and Josh Spears will be our last 2 cars across the line. Ostrich heading out of the final corner. You hear that car sputtering across the line. Spears bringing his Porsche into the final 2 corners, penultimate corner, and into the final corner now. Once he crosses the line, this race will be official.
That's been a great race. It wasn't a whole lot of passing, but when there was, it was fabulous. And that battle for the lead, Rob, that's highlight reel stuff. That last lap around Red Bull Ring between those 2 teammates, great display.
Yeah, it definitely almost went to tears at the end there, Rich, but we saw Nanny Tavares able to hold off Fernando Jacques at the end. I would assume if they weren't teammates, Rich, it might have went a little different at the end, but they were able to bring it home 1-2. Juan Malagon have to settle for 3rd. Corey Cerrone brings home the top spot in the AM class. In 4th spot, Matt Stadniak in 2nd in AM. Gonzalo Cortez in 6th overall. Emmett Lindquist in 7th. Joey Costello brings it home 8th. Kevin Simpson in 9th. Luis Grullon rounds out the top 10. And you want to take us through the next 20, Rich?
Yeah, then we've got David Mendonca finished 11th, followed by Jim Feliz in 12th. Then we had Tony Costello, followed by Aaron Lewis. Then Pete Magia, followed by Devin Brock in 16th. Artie Mercedes was 17th. William Fenson, 18th. Douglas Curry, 19th. And Sean Carmody was 20th.
Yeah, and then we find Ivan Bassano in 21st, Blake Zeddy in 22nd, Adam Ostrich in 23rd, Josh Spears 24th, Nestor Santana in 25th, and Bryce Bombeck is going to finish up 2 laps down. So a 40-minute race, we only ended up with 1 car laps down, Rich. So that was an excellent showing by all of our drivers out there. Just waiting to see if any of them pop into the booth here to have a little chat. Right now we're not seeing anyone, but let's see if we can take another look at a little bit of that last lap battle between our 2 leaders who were just fighting it out at the end.
Yeah, I was hoping to see that when I saw them pull a couple second gap early on, but man, they sure delivered for us here tonight, Rob. Side by side, they're going through turn 4 here. and then they do it all the way through turn 5 and 6. Neither willing to give up an inch until they absolutely had to. But this move right here, he's coming up the inside, and he finally gets that position back that he's been trying to hold on to for 4 corners, and that's the race right there.
Yeah, that was Tavares using a little more of the track than I think normally iRacing wants you to use. I'm sure he got a 1X there. I'm surprised it actually wasn't a slowdown. We saw there was a car off to the right. I'm not sure which one it was.
Can we rewind that, Rob? Is it possible? I was wondering.
Looks
to
like
see what happened.
Looks like that was Bryce Bombeck that spun in the final sector.
I was just wondering if that caused a little checkup by Tavares, and that's why they bumped.
Yeah, probably they saw a little bit of the smoke heading up there, not really knowing where the car was going to come on track as he's backing up here. You see the leaders come around there in the final sector. So right there, he spins around. I think that's where Tavares had to tap the brakes.
He wasn't in the way at all. I think they just saw the smoke and didn't want to ruin their whole race on the last corner.
Yeah, definitely. But looks like we've got Corey Cerrone. So we got Corey Cerrone in the interview booth here. We'll have a little chat with our AM winner. Corey, well done. You took the AM championship for the race, brought it home 4th overall. How'd your race go?
Oh, well, it didn't go according to plan whatsoever, but I think it was a success overall. Just kind of my game plan was just to fall in line and, try and get what I can get out of it. I really didn't expect to start towards the front of the field like I did, but really just tried to stay in the draft and save fuel and hope that helped, but then I forgot to uncheck my tires, so it didn't help. But ended up working out in the end.
We saw early on, actually, I guess through the mid part of the race, your sister teammate Blake Seedy was tucked up in behind you, and it looked like maybe he had a little more pace here and there, and then you kind of picked it up a few laps later. Were you guys in communication at all during the race? Looks like you were kind of chasing down Juan Malagon. Were you talking together, trying to work together to chase him down, or was there no real communication there?
Yeah, we had a plan. If there was a run, for to get a good overtake, I was going to let him go by, but I just don't think it really ever came. It seems to be so hard to pass here, unless the person in front of you makes a mistake on exit. I mean, I might have had one opportunity to try and overtake on that Mercedes Juan in front of me, but I mean, it was just so fast in a straight line. It was tough.
Yeah, definitely. It's a Red Bull Ring, not a whole lot of opportunity to pass. But next week we go to Watkins Glen. How do you feel about Watkins and the Acura?
I've never driven the Acura there. This is the first time I'm really ever driving the Acura. I just wanted to try something different. But Watkins is one of my favorite tracks, so I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait.
Perfect. Well, we wish you the best of luck, Corey. Anybody you want to give a shout out to before we head out?
Yeah, just, SRT, thanks to them for bringing me on. It's been fun. I started out doing a couple enduro races with them and, lucky enough to be brought on to one of the GT3 teams for the new league. So shout out to them.
Perfect. Well, best of luck next week, Corey. Hopefully we see you up near the front again, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Okay, Rich. I'm just looking to see. I don't know. I'm not sure who else is in the booth here because they did not put their iRacing name as their Discord name. So we're going to say better luck to them next time for coming in and chat with us. Note for all the drivers out there.
Rob, I'm wondering if that might be Matt Stadniak based on the name.
I'm not sure. You'll have to make the adjustment for next week. Note for all the drivers, make sure your name in Discord is the same as your iRacing name so we can identify you. But 2 races, Rich, both of them were excellent. I don't think we can really ask for much more. Red Bull Ring, generally not a track that's real opportunistic for making a lot of passes, but we did see a nice battle at the end. The Open Series next week, we head to Watkins. to take the GT3s out there. The same 2 classes again, fixed open setups, plus our Pro and AM drivers. So we thank everybody in the chat and viewing at home. And for Richard Swindells, I'm Rob Campbell, and we will see you next time.
Good night.